Welcome to Quilt Like an Artist 9, Embracing the Storm. This quilt, I would say, is a hybrid between quilting like an artist and designing a quilt. And that's just my definition. I'm going to explain it a little because my journey to figure out if I could quilt like an artist began in January of 2024, if you've been following along. I wanted to find out if I could create quilts, art quilts, with the same amount of excitement and joy that I created other art. And when I create other art, I create, my favorite way of creating is to not know what I'm creating or where I'm going, and to just start working and then let the work drive the bus, so to speak. So I just keep working until I like the result. Or I don't like the result and I put it in the ugly pile. The reason I say that this quilt is more of a designed quilt than an art quilt is because I drew out the design ahead of time. I did concept sketches and then drew it out and then sewed it together. So in my mind, that's how I work as a designer. So my brain, my idea comes first, and that's what gets executed. Or if I'm working for a client, it's their idea, their colors, their everything, and I put that together. So to quilt like an artist on this quilt, I guess it's a blend, because when I was doing the early sketches, I wasn't sure where I was going, and I just kind of kept working. So, it's a little bit of a blend. But on the whole, I would consider this more a designed quilt than how I want to quilt like an artist. However, I learned a lot. I love some of the techniques. I'm not going to share the actual techniques that Ricky teaches because these are Ricky's things to teach, and I don't want to steal from him. So you'll see the finished quilt, and you will also see some of the how-tos. So to start at the beginning, this is my first sketch, or one of my first concept sketches. And then I got a little tangled up with all the lines, so I did this color version so that I could easily see the background from the foreground. This is also where I'm starting to think about how am I going to sew this together. So I'm pre-engineering it, where when I'm doing a strictly quilt like an artist quilt, I'm not even thinking about how am I going to sew this thing together until it's all done on the design wall, and then I go, oh la la, how am I going to sew this thing together? So this is a big difference in the two methodologies. This is the full scale one drawn on butcher paper, and it has changed, of course, from the concept to the final full-scale drawing, but that would be expected. I would expect that to happen in the process. And speaking of changes, you may notice that the eyes have changed considerably from my sketches, even from my full-scale drawing. When it came down to how am I actually going to sew this together, I made more revisions just to make it more feasible. So before I could start sewing, of course, I had to choose my fabrics. These are all fabrics I've designed over the years, plus some solids, some very pink solids for the cold frozen face. And here I've started piecing the face together. I decided I'm starting with the face, the eyes, because that has the smallest pieces, the most difficult, and if I can do this, I can get the rest of it done as well. This one makes me chuckle because it reminds me of a swim cap. And this one is kind of like the ones that the deli workers have to wear. But finally we're getting to the stocking cap look. And of course, you can't have a quilt without a few tension problems. How is it that you have no tension problems? Everything's worked fine all day. You put the sewing machine away. Well, I don't put it away. I turn the lights off, go in the other room. Next morning, you come out, start sewing, and what? What? I mean, who messed with my machine in the middle of the night? Do I have gremlins? So now I'm entering the snow making phase. You can tell by my attire. I wanted to try and create the look of snow in a new, fresh way. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. So I just started chopping up fabrics and sewing them back together and auditioning them on the wall. This part of the project was more along the lines of my Quilt Like an Artist method, where I don't know how to get to the end point. In this case, I did know I wanted snow. Sometimes I don't even know what I want. I just keep sewing stuff together. But I find this really fun, actually, because it's kind of an unexpected result. And even if it doesn't turn out, I can use those pieces somewhere, some other time, in some other project. So I just let it work its way out. I wanted to give a shout out to my friend Celeste, who actually named this quilt Embracing the Storm. Or I put a call out on social media because I'm a terrible namer typically. And when I read her suggestion, she said, "She looks like she's embracing the storm." And I thought, I love that name, because right now on this planet, we're all embracing the storm. And maybe we all need a little encouragement. So hopefully it will inspire someone, maybe you, to just keep going. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a shout out, a click on the like, or a comment. It's been fun getting to know some of you, so feel free to reach out in the comments. And thanks for watching. Bye for now.